Guys, welcome to the Fans Voice. All right, so today I want to talk about some wide receivers and which also falls in line with me wanting to talk a little bit about Chiefs and what I think is a better idea for them to do in the draft. Not a Chiefs fan, but I follow football and I like to and I just really like to figure out what would be a good route for teams to go, but I think would help fix uh I find it's hypotheticals and just something fun to do. But so the Chiefs, ever since they traded Tyreek Hill away a few years ago, it seems like they've been trying to replicate that kind of receiver this entire time. And and that's those speedsters. Where their biggest attribute is speed, and they don't have the most reliable hands, or they're smaller receivers that are getting injured too much, or they're just getting these receivers that um are getting into legal problems. But like Rasheed Rice, he's a playmaker. I don't think he's bad. It just feels like I don't know. It's just like it feels like that he's just trying to see what he can get away with, with the legal issues. I don't know what the deal is. Which I do find it ridiculous that he didn't get suspended again this year for uh for the alleged accusation of assaulting a female. Any other time I've seen that in the NFL, they're already suspended. Um, like a minimum 4 to 6 games. So I really feel like they really should have suspended him. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But these speedsters, these guys who like they haven't really worked out in the NFL. Like they've been maxed out as a wide receiver three, maybe a two, a low end two. But they've spent enough first round picks on these these wide receivers. It was like, or maybe I can't quite remember how many times they've done it. Spent the first round pick on these speedsters, but they spent enough high round draft picks on these guys, hoping to replicate what they had with Tyreek Hill, and it hasn't happened. Those receivers are not. I don't think they're the greatest. They're not the best. I mean, Tyreek Hill. I think out of those kind of receivers, Tyreek Hill is the the best that I've seen in it in today's day and age, because he at least has some hands and he has some route running ability. It's just you take away his speed, he is your average wide receiver. What makes him great is his speed, and I mean, granted, he's getting older, so he is slowing down, but he's probably still faster than a lot of other players. But then again, he also has a lot of his own legal issues. Think he's even been signed, but it's hard to imagine him lasting too much longer in the league. He keeps getting himself into trouble. That seems to be a continuing factor in the wide receiver department. But I've been seeing some things about where the Chiefs should go in the draft, and before you saw a lot of people leaning on going defensive back in the first with their first pick, and then or maybe even edge, and then I've seen corner then edge. But now I'm seeing some people thinking that they're going to go wide receiver in the first round. I get it, I see the point, but I got a better master plan for that. Um, I do think no matter what, I think maybe not no matter what, I think their first option should be defensive back at pick 9. I think it should be if they go defensive back, it's I think it should either be one of the top two corners with Delane or McCoy, or they should go if he's still there, Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs because yet they still need safety. They lost their best safety to the Bengals in the free agency. Caleb Downs can he will cover that safety spot, but he can also play your big nickel as well. He could play closer to the box. He is going to provide a lot better versatility for them, and they can use them in multiple schemes and put them in different spots. So I think if he's there, I think that should be their first pick. Amongst anybody else, he should be their first pick. And then depending on how that goes, I think it should just be defensive back. But if for some reason the top three defensive backs aren't there, I think if he's there, I think he can be Ruben Bain. They should go for him. I know defensive line coaches don't like defensive linemen with shorter arms, but I think Ruben Bain's still got the skill and he's got so much potential to be a really good edge guy, especially when there's already a good edge guy on the team, and they've got a great defensive coach. So I think no matter what, Ruben would be good, especially with the Chiefs. If I think that should be if there's no defensive backs available, if the other three were for some reason taken in the first 8 picks. So let's say they do go defensive back with pick 9. Their next pick at pick 29 should not be wide receiver. I saw some, people saying like Casey Concepcion. I like the guy. I think that's really good. Good player, and I think he's a good prospect. I like him. Very electrifying player, very good receiver, and he'd also be able to help out in the return game. I think he's a future wide receiver one in the league. But I think they can pass on wide receiver with that, especially with them having a early second round pick. I think with pick 29, it should be edge if they go corner. If they go edge first, then it should be corner second. Because there's some good first round talent with these corners and edges. So let's go TJ Parker, Cassius Howell, or Zion Young would be a good, 29 if those guys aren't already taken. It's going to be a good spot for the Chiefs to be able to. And then I think they should go wide receiver at pick 40 because there are still some good caliber wide receivers right there, especially Chris Bell. Yes, he had an ACL tear, but it was minimum damage to the ligament. So he's going to be up and going, and I don't see there being any lingering issues with that. I think he's going to bounce right back to where he was before. What I really like about him is like he's he's got the size. He's 6'2", 227. He is a likely 4.4 speed, which is insanely ridiculous at his size. But Chris Bell also, he is a 3-level threat. He has the body control. He has the strong hands. He has the good route running ability. He's great for over the middle. I think he'd be an excellent receiving threat for Patrick Mahomes when he comes back. Don't know when it will be. I heard that his recovery is going along better than expected. I personally think maybe earliest is week 5 return, which is better than I originally thought. At first, I thought he was going to be missing most of the 2026 season. But I think Chris Bell, if he lasts to 40, because I think there could be a couple teams, the Titans or the Raiders could think about getting him, but I don't know. I mean, he's before the injury, he was probably going to go first round. I honestly think that he could have been top half of the draft because of how good of a player he is. And I think he's think he's the only one from what I've seen, I think he's the only wide receiver of that size that can move the way he does and play the way he does, uh, being at that size. A lot of the other guys that I see, if they're fast, they're smaller, or they're this really tall, lanky person like Brazel. I think interesting, but I he doesn't speak to me like a lot of other people. Um, I don't know. I don't see him being able to be a wide receiver one, and that's somebody I think the Chiefs needed to be looking for. Somebody who can be a wide receiver one. I think Chris Bell can be, because I think they need to have a they need to start getting the divorce paper ready with Rashid Rice, because he's causing too many problems not being able to be on the field, and it's not worth the money to keep him there if he's just going to be keep causing these problems. So I think the Chiefs should go for him, and it'd be a nice change of pace in what they're doing at wide receiver. They've been trying to replicate that Tyreek Hill type wide receiver, and it hasn't been working. He's one like just one of the very few of that type where they're really fast and they still got decent hands and decent route running. So they need to change what they are trying to get at wide receiver. I understand Mahomes got a big arm and it can work, but it hasn't worked since Tyreek. So get a change, and I think it'll work out. And I think he can. I think Chris Bell will be able to tear up the field for the Chiefs. And those speedy wide receivers, I don't think they're the most reliable wide receivers to draft. They're great in the return game. They're electrifying when they get into that open field, but they're not the guy that I'm going to trust to on critical passing plays. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of what the Chiefs should do. Um, and what do you guys think of these speedy receivers? I know they're exciting, but I think that's the biggest thing, is that they're exciting. What you guys think? And I will talk with you guys later. Don't forget to like and subscribe.